Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And as we progress to the perfection of this new moon that is already opening a cycle, moon is now sextiling Saturn. This is ascendant 9 degrees Cancer and the midheaven 25 degrees Pisces. This is actually Mars night and the Mercury hour. So what is the beautiful thing that's happening right now? And you might feel it as an escalation before something is completely turned over. And the thing is, as with any Pluto aspects, those that have been abusing power, misusing people, especially in hidden ways, because Pluto is the hidden. Okay, Pluto is the what you don't see, and later people are like, being diagnosed for psychosis or being dehoused or having, their property confiscated because they try to make either a spouse or someone or employee or even patient looking crazy. All of those places where there is unbalanced power and there was abuse of power are being turned over. So this is the story of any planet with Pluto, okay? So in harmonious aspect, um, we have a transformation, okay? There can be a situation where one person did not know they have more power, and then that can be remediated, that can be transformed, the people become to acknowledge their power, and they come to use their power, more subtly, more respectfully towards one another, and they can also enjoy the depth, the intensity, the connection. And then the other situations where people just bluntly abuse power, okay? People just bluntly abuse power, and they, instead of, changing, transforming, and stuff like, they keep at it. They just keep at it, and all of these malefic energies, of course, return to sender, and if that be more humane, then so be it. And with Mars opposing Pluto, that sometimes is more humane. And so those who try to use with the energy of the moon or the Mars or all these to basically downright abuse their power, okay, especially in hidden ways, those people, beings, basically experience a downfall. And that is a serious downfall. Okay, Mars hard aspect in Pluto is a very serious downfall, and the point here is to protect what's being created. Okay, the new moon in Scorpio had a lot of emphasis in curating the situation of yin depletion, all the ways in which the anything yin, so it can be children, it can be the occupied people, it can be those who lose in a battle, it can be women, and all of those were considered the yin, okay? And the yin depletion basically means you do war crimes, okay? Whether it's pedophilia or mind control or psychic attack or downright sexual violence, financial violence, okay? All these things that are being done against people, actually they're not even in that much power position, okay? And so all of those things were being curated with the changing of the seasons, with, for some people it's Samhain, for some people it's other rituals, and just the new moon in Scorpio is a new beginning of transforming so that some structures can hold water, okay, with the trine to Saturn, and there's more union of the feminine, masculine, sun, moon, right eye, left eye, okay, the perspective is more united and it can hold water, okay? Scorpio has a lot to do with the deep wells, the underground water, and to purify them, we basically think about above and below. We think about satanic ritual abuse, the children underneath, the rituals underneath, and what's done above, the human sacrifice, and so on, that's involved with war. And Scorpio is not about the image, it's a change in essence. It's going deep into the essence and a changing from the essence, so we can have a yin that can hold for yang, and yang that does not deplete yin. All ideas, worldviews about yang that punishes yin are basically removed from the face of the earth with all that is attached to them. That means peoples, and nations that were not sovereign, because if they are, okay, peoples, nations, all of those who perform for these rituals, all of that, okay, all the people that would not go through the transformation and just say, okay, I don't do this anymore. Okay, I don't deplete yin, I don't violate boundaries, I don't do this anymore. All of those are having through the death, and it can be even physical death. The powers are being turned over. This is why we had a feeling of like an escalation coming to the breaking point, especially if the people who are in the place where they were trying to be put underneath, then even if they are children, they already have child assassin built into them. And the child assassin now goes not against whoever they're programmed to go, but there's a glitch in the program, okay? There's a glitch in the system. It's not a bug, it's a feature. And so this is the situation where things got escalated to a certain point, where now that which was innocent and the innocence was violated agrees to even murder, because it is more humane. We are being prepared for Pluto ingressing into Aquarius, and this is the time of where they invented the guillotine, because it was more humane that to unalive all of those who are confiscating land and collecting taxes that were not really going to the poor, to the disabled. But we also must remember that upon death, even the sick, even the disabled might get, if their life threatened, might get like a surge of adrenaline. And a person under surge of adrenaline can even lift a truck, okay? And this is the kind of situation that we get. Those who are frozen defreeze and basically assert the boundary, so much so that it's unquestionable, and the ripples of that go through reality in a giant way. This is the last, it's the first of the Mars opposition Pluto, but this is the last Mars opposition Pluto that occurs in Capricorn and Cancer. So basically Pluto and Mars and the course of Pluto in Capricorn with a very heated conflict, okay, where the powers are turned over. It's 12 o'clock. But if you think back to 2008, where all of these hidden things would get someone to be hospitalized, to be jailed even, to be homeless, to be this, to be that, into debt, into this, into that. Now we have a direct confrontation, but this time the power equation is turned over. And it may be turned over in a hidden way. So all of those who try to, at the fact that they are losing power, okay, you can no longer say, oh, you are imagining things, and then do black sexual assault, black magic on your patient as psychologist or psychiatrist. Cannot work. Read the words, read the energy, because this is now being supported by all, whether it's the politician, whether it's the business people, whether it's the everybody that's been targeted by this and been witness in spirit and in matter that this person you try to do this is innocent and has been going to back and forth, this land, that land, trying to find a place to be. Okay? So what's happening right now is that the magic backfires, the dark magic backfires, okay? Even the devil loses its power where it's used in power abuse, okay? And this is how Mars and Pluto end the conversation with Capricorn. But basically, if Pluto is in the sign of Saturn, Mars in no conflict with Saturn, and the moon ruled by Mars, new moon, in no conflict with Saturn, even harmonious to Saturn, ends the conversation with Pluto on a direct confrontation. Direct confrontation. And who is Pluto? It's the hidden power, it's the cold power within the pyramidal structure. And what happens now is very interesting, because from the top of the pyramid, everybody in Capricorn, we're all standing at the top of the pyramid right now as per Pluto. We all found together a power in this sense. From the top of the pyramid, you would get the people even seem to be at the top of the pyramid saying no to psychological abuse, no to gaslighting, no to that. Okay? And this is essential. No to this psychological mambo-jumbo dumb fuckery that has been affecting everyone in the cult. Within the cult, people exposed for this structure, they expose for this structure, and they cannot anymore do with that. So those who've been trying to take power, to hold on to their power position that is oppressive to others, they must transform or die. And with Mars, it's very simple. Cross over or cross over. You have head of NATO reminding people that war crimes against the children and women is not acceptable. Reminding us, okay, a gun that's being put in the second act will fire at the seventh. He's putting that gun. It's in the second. We're just starting with this world war. And he reminding us, wars, violence against the children or women, you want to know it now, because NATO is not going to support even of the UN forces and the NATO forces that choose to violate that. There will be no support from NATO. He's putting the gun right here. That's the head of the pyramid for you. None of these soldiers that practice that are supported. Kaput al gol. This is where the bodies upon bodies of Algol comes into play with Uranus. And this is the exact bodies upon bodies. Those who depleted yin on purpose. I'm not talking about something like you had a communication, you said a word, you this, you that, or you thought something was not really, okay, somebody set a boundary. No, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the people who genuinely depleted yin on purpose and repeatedly. Essentially, this is where you cross over or cross over, because you will not be defended, and it will no longer be the ICC that judges you. By the end of this war, it will be the people. We, the people. So this is why, the people that's been through that's been the children. They have been the children. Putting on the gun at the second act. Because this gun will fire in the seventh act and there will be no coverage. Not from ICC, not from NATO, not from UN, not from anybody for the people who do sexual violence in a spirit and in matter. Everybody knows that. Everybody says that, even if for to cover themselves up. Say, I'm not going to support for this. Okay? Anybody who decides to do such thing, if the women decide that they are defending themselves, if the child assassin go against the sex offenders this time, which they are scheduled to, Pluto into Aquarius, geen protection, geen hag in hag, nada. Enough with expendable children, with child assassins. Enough with depleting young, so much so that 2 generations of men dead for a woman to have a bank account. And then even that bank account has to be invested in child, slavery. For her to yield, So, what's happening right now is exactly, Pluto is exposing all the things at the top of the pyramid, and the people may have various decisions. Some people might, like psychologists, that they were used to having this dark, cold magic, try to go with the energy and go with it, to overpower with the energy. They see, no longer would this be accepted. Not only that, no longer would this be accepted. Your house, if you kicked me out of my house by doing black magic, this house may have earthquake. I might be saved by the grace of nature. I might be saved. But your address is known to everybody. And that property cannot be sold because it's not registered. And what you try to do sexually to people to get at the sexual energy. You know, you've been told you cannot penetrate without being penetrated, you know. No matter how you hide yourself in a roundabout way, you know. You try to shapeshift into another person's energy, that person kicks you out. You try to make deal with some person's energy, both of you go down. And this is exactly the powers, those who were used to holding the power and abusing it on purpose and keeping it against what? Against children, against women, against people who really are the marginalized in this situation, or not its equal power, not financially, not spiritually, no nothing, okay? Those people had to climb up the ladder. And now there is a direct confrontation. Particularly housing, gas resources, can be gas leakage, can be radiation leakage, water leakage, okay? And what's happening right now, particularly housing and the water, the deep well water, but this is also the oils, the gases, okay? There's some deep confrontation. Those that want to take a hold of these resources from the depth of the wells of the children that they sacrifice as rituals, and they put them, a live child with dead child, to rot. Those come back from underneath, and in spirit and in matter, as below so above, as above so below, confront, and no longer the power holds for the way it used to be. And so and those who try in every way to take the power basically from the people, okay, find out that people are leaders. New moon, moon and sun meet. People are leaders and leaders are people. And both in people and in leaders, those who try to use these deep dark Plutonian forces to get at the nervous system, at the constitution, at the energy, at the this, at the that, at the that, at the that, of someone they know is not stronger than them. I'm not drug cartel. I'm not the real estate cartel. I am not even a witch. Okay? And someone they know It's none of that. And they think they can hide from this shape, from that shape, from that shape, from that shape, from that shape. So the shape that noticed something going on, they say, come on, say this name, say this Itamar Yaron, say this Idon Nevo, say this. And some of them may be close to ICC, some of them may be close to Geneva, some of them may be close to Brussels. None of that. And those that perhaps have been mingling with this energy, saying, oh, maybe we can get the real estate deal, maybe we could get what they have, maybe we could get this. When you know this person is welfare case, not because they're imagining, welfare case, they try to do their own pedicure, it comes out like, then they have to spend a quarter of the out carrying the welfare in order for someone to do it like it's supposed to do, so they don't lose their feet because they need to take care of their health. And the food that you need to eat for the feet to be healthy is costly, right? For the nervous system, especially for trauma and so on. Yes, it's money. So the people who try to fuck with that, when they know curation for psychosis is what? Housing first, believe in the person, independently of the ability to work, they go all down together. No longer is those games on people's housing, on people's nourishment, on people's lands can be played, and no longer can you go under colonialism when the people, the tribes themselves have been colonializing the children and women. Not gonna go from the core. Not gonna go. So this is what's happening now. And the Mars night is very heavy. People feel it is spiritual war. It's not spiritual war, it's spiritual turnover. It feels like war because it's building and escalating into direct confrontation. And in this direct confrontation, essentially, one has to cross over. Those who still try to apply to control tactics against people who are not in this power position, those people are experiencing giant downfall, massive downfall, okay? Because this is Pluto. You think about usually how do you climb a mountain, then you stay on top of the mountain, you breathe fresh air, and then you slowly go down from the top of the mountain, okay? You let go of the mountain. But if what you had to do to climb the mountain, like Jaguar, right? If what you had to do to climb the mountain, she destroys the fucking mountain because it's not fair for all of that to be intelligence, MK Ultra, espionage, sexpionage, and no music. Destroys the fucking mountain, okay? And at first, from what she can, and from what she does, from what she doesn't, she climbs further, so she can free herself and do some music and make money from music, not from sexpionage of her or others. This is simple, right? But this is also the tip of where you're given for the opportunity, okay? Crossover. Mars has a lot to do with real estate. Gas, oil, energy that's underneath the ground, well water, okay, the deep waters. Defending our moms, but also setting boundaries to our own parents. Cancer and the treatment of cancer. The relation to the breasts, okay, the breast, the limbs, nourishment, nutrition, civil services, welfare, welfare. Not the welfare that is actually caring for people, but farewell the welfare that is abusive of people. The welfare that confiscates land and then forces you, say, I will give you money to get appealed so you can live between worlds, to be like zombie. No longer. Land, uninvoking the second. Land, and off with the heads of those who try to collect taxes for the fact that you grow tomatoes for your own family. If you are disabled, it's not like they come to take care of you. But also for the people who mistreat people who are helpless, who needed this help, and abuse them, psychologists, psychiatrists, hidden forces, even people who do like witchcraft, okay, for the clout, all back to sender, all back to sender. And if more humane is death, then it is time where more humane is death, then we have even new weapons to kill people, like there was time at the guillotine, okay? Because it's more humane. Because what they sent is perpetual torture, then more humane to give them death with dignity, mercy killing, so not to become like them. This is where the death of the guillotine came from at the French Revolution, and this is what is happening right now for those who perpetually abuse, use their power, do sexual boundaries violation, even though they're doctors, even though they're psychologists, even though they're high rank in a cult or whatnot, or even religious institution or whatever, okay? All of that gone. So what you experience now, of course, is the perfection of this very last argument between Mars and Pluto in Cancer Capricorn axis. And it has been an argument. It has been a situation where people have been going to therapy because they say, I want to take a responsibility over my life, change better my decision, treat my inner child. I will go to psychologist. I will spend money. I'll go to psychiatrist. I will go to take charge of my mental health, of my psychology. Yeah, that's the Pluto stuff. And the psychologists themselves perpetuates violence. Bassa van der Kolk. How do you heal trauma of war? Rape women. No, you don't. That's excess depletion of yin that got you to have trauma in the first place. For many. And then when you have trauma, you are a feminine. So they don't recover you, they don't believe you until they believe you have PTSD, because that was considered yin. And then they tell you, go rape women, rape children. It will take the trauma out of the body keeps the score, right? And that when that is translated to legislation, what happens? But this is all coming from expendable children, because both Bassa van der Kolk and Joris Demming and all of these people, all of these positions, were also these children that were raped, that were tortured. They're just perpetuating of the treatment they had. Now Mars in Cancer says no more. I know you have been this child, but this time we have to cut this from all lineages, across all countries, across all times, across all people, and no more with that in entire humanity. Crossover. All healing modalities exist, they're just not brought to the people, including the people in these top positions. So this is the direct confrontation, and everybody tries to energetically overpower, or say, hold on to what? Surrender, you are free falling. surrender. You are free falling. If it is into your death, then let go of life. It would be easier. It would be easier because of what you've done all that much. And with the people at the position of power, they have more access to kill themselves, to cyanide, to things that could end their suffering, right? And also, if the goal was to awaken humanity, we awaken. We are awake. Awake. Either this stops or this stops. With the guillotine, or with someone letting go of hurting, or with someone letting go of life. Death, 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 or death. C'est tout. No more hurt, no more violence, no more abuse of power. C'est tout. Everything, Capricorn, this is beyond over. If all the explanations, all the chances, all of this only served as person thinking, taking kindness for weakness, or if a person genuinely weak, perpetuating the violence on the weak because they can get away with that, what happens at the end of the pyramid? Off with your head. Everybody knows that. It's been there in history, it's been there right now. But you've been told stories. You better believe it's better for you to die, because what the cult will do to you, you would pray that you will die. And it would be hidden, so everybody think, oh, they smuggled Dr. Mengele, oh, Hitler is still alive, oh, Epstein, did they go into intense torture because they've been exposed? They're dying to die. But the best thing is to not to participate in expanding this onwards, because what happens? To go, the best option is the guillotine, or whichever equivalent, the best option. Who was eventually the guillotine? The heads of the what? The Inquisition. Because it's more humane. This is the time where Pluto decides for what is more humane way to transform. So there is authenticity, there is finding your power, there is taking your power back, there is no one has the power over me for psychic attacks, that's all of these things. But if that still is prevailing all the time, try to grasp the power over people, men or women, and their houses and their energy and the